Before going deep into Raw from last night with Jesse Ventura as a governor from Hershey, I would just like to apologize. I've been on a hiatus from doing videos and reviews for a while now, doing just sporadic reviews. There will be no Survivor Series review, I simply don't have time to do it. I will be back now for at least 2 weeks, then I will be away for another week, but I'll try to be here as much as possible. And I would also like to apologize to all of you who have sent me PMs and given me comments in my channel without me responding. I will try to get back to you as much as possible, and simply as much as time allows me to do that. Raw last night was great. Jesse Ventura was a much better special guest host than I could ever anticipate him being. He was a great commentary and a wrestler back in the day. He was a commentator along with Vince McMahon back in the day for several WrestleManias. He was the heel. He was a genuine heel as a commentator. He was a genuine heel as a wrestler. It was great to see them back together last night on Raw. Vince and Jesse, although they proved to have a lot of ring rust, that's of course because they haven't done commentary in a long while. Vince was a commentary throughout most of the 90s, somewhere into 1997. He used to be a real great commentator, but time goes by and he hasn't done that for a while. Still a great Raw. What a great concept to have this breakthrough tournament and battle royal. I really didn't know what to expect, especially as Orton made his way into it. I expected Orton not to win, but only to make people believe he was going to win, especially as he stood by the ring outside of the ring. And I think it was a great Raw. Yet another unique feel to the Raw that we saw in Madison Square Garden last week. Now another great Raw with a unique feeling. And I think that you agree with me. Should WWE go back to have a constant GM on Raw, it should be Jesse Ventura. He was the best guest host so far. A lot of attitude, psychology, charisma and all of that. But I don't think that will happen. Him and Vince are not known for being on very good terms, as he left WWE somewhere early 90s in the first place. It was a great Raw, as I said. It was a little tiresome at some points, because there's a lot of differences between doing a 2-hour Raw or a 3-hour Raw. There's a big difference. And when we saw a qualifying match for the Breakthrough Battle Royal featuring Crime Time and our Dynasty, my thought was, like maybe a lot of you thought, what is Crime Time doing there? There was no way they were going to win. They were simply running out of names for that Battle Royal, but the names in there were great, and they were more or less only Raw names, which I think kind of reflects actually the circuit right now, because Raw has been clobbered a lot by the fans on the internet and the fans of Raw over the years for not producing talent. The talent being held down, but if we look at right now, the biggest talents coming, they are Drew McIntyre, Sheamus, John Morrison, The Miz, Jack Swagger, Ted DiBiase, Kofi Kingston. And most of these guys are on Raw. So actually Raw is the leading talent pool right now. In my opinion, or ECW is the talent pool, but they produce and they make them into stars on Raw right now. On a side note, ECW of course was not a part of this was what could have been a tri-brand show, but I don't really care. ECW is taking a toll more and more and more recently. We even saw Christian at Survivor Series not even being a captain of his team. Kofi Kingston was a great captain in a great match. Great stare down between Kofi and Randy Orton, and as I said, I agreed with more or less every participant in that Battle Royal. Of course Swagger could have been there, but not everyone can, as I said. Again, great finish to it, and what a surprising win. Sheamus, and finally we got what we want. People have been complaining for so long. I think John Cena-Randy Orton feud, the long series of matches, was a good way, because there was so short in time between the pay-per-views. Then they had the triple threat, DX, John Cena, which a lot of people seem to like. Cena retained. I believed, since TLC was going to be in San Antonio, that we were going to see Shawn Michaels versus John Cena, especially Cena pinned Triple H. But we will not see that. Instead we will see the much also anticipated match between DX versus Jericho, as per booked a TLC match by Jesse Ventura. And Sheamus versus John Cena will be a tables match, and this only goes to prove you how big of a talent Sheamus really is. He's been nothing but praised since starting to wrestle in FCW, where he was a former champion. He has arrived in ECW and on Raw and has made a momentous impact. He's a great talent. He's perhaps one of the greatest specimen we have seen in a long time. He's got the look, he can talk, he looks intimidating, He's got the psychology, he has the look of a champ already. I believe him and Drew McIntyre are perhaps the two best talent they have got coming in a long while. In a long while. They are simply so gifted. They are in ring naturals. With a big difference that Sheamus is more ready for a big profile match than Drew McIntyre is. And that of course because Sheamus is much older. He's perhaps 5 years older than Drew McIntyre, so McIntyre will have a lot of time to evolve into a great star of his own, which I believe is what WWE has in store for him. Some people also might ask, why wasn't Drew McIntyre in this breakthrough battle royal? Simply, I don't know. We only had one SmackDown star in there, and that was R-Truth, that actually made it to the match. We had Dolph Ziggler being eliminated along the way, and we also had, there was one other SmackDown participant at least, but only R-Truth made it to the Battle Royal. And in addition to that, Drew McIntyre wasn't even invited, but it could be. He isn't ready for a big title run yet, or a shot. I believe him, I can see him going into a feud with John Morrison pretty soon over the Intercontinental Championship. And simply therefore they want to make Drew look strong. They want him to win everything he enters. Therefore maybe they didn't want him to enter the Battle Royal and have him lose it, because they simply want to have him look so strong and undefeated, simply running as a parallel to Sheamus on Raw, but he runs on SmackDown. That's the explanation that I can see. It will be very interesting, as I said, to see Sheamus wrestle John Cena. In a sudden moment he started to look so good in my eyes. He's always looked good, except for being so horribly pale, but that's another story. The other matches outside of the Battle Royal, Hart Dynasty versus DX, John Cena versus CM Punk, you really could feel that the effort wasn't put on those matches. Cena versus Punk wasn't a very good match, but it was a good match for being a bad match, if you understand what I'm saying. And I simply believe that this is a future money match, I believe, on pay-per-views, and they just wanted to promote this to make people watch the show. Then, as I believe and as I see them having this match maybe in a couple of years and in a year on a pay-per-view, there isn't really that much of an idea to blow it away on Raw, and it's super match that's going to be compared and remembered if they push it onto a pay-per-view. So that's the explanation I can have to it. Hart Dynasty DX as well. Good match, but nothing special. And I think it doesn't matter that much. You don't need to put that effort into weekly matches in every match. And also putting the headlight focus on Sheamus tonight was so perfectly well done. We also saw a heel turn again by Ventura. He is a pure heel. So as a whole, this was a very good night in my eyes. Well, we got a new, young, fresh #1 contender for the championship, World Championship, and this is perhaps the most fresh, refreshing #1 contender we have seen ever. Who I didn't have a clue. I thought, as I said, Shawn Michaels versus John Cena for TLC, because in my eyes there is at least one more money match between these two on a pay-per-view. So I thought we were going to see this. Cena pinning Triple H at Survivor Series, Shawn Michaels being not pinned, having the right to face John Cena at TLC, which will be in his hometown, San Antonio. But instead we will see DX go for, as I said, Jericho versus Jericho for the tag team titles. We also saw the comeback. WWE has been doing a lot of retrospect stuff recently. We saw in Madison Square Garden. They aired a vignette with old classic MSG moments. Now we saw the return of the Gobbledygooker. And that was hilarious. Gobbledygooker arrived in Survivor Series 1990 as a big surprise, which was considered a big fiasco back then. But also fiascos can become infamous and legendary, and the Gobbledygooker is indeed a legend. It was first portrayed by Hector Guerrero, if my memory serves me correctly, back in 1990. He returned tonight, but this time it was Maryse in this outfit, and she made a comeback attacking Melina. We will apparently see a feud over the Divas Championship between Melina and Maryse in the near future. Feel free to share your thoughts on this Raw and Jesse Ventura's Impact. Next week's going to be a Warren Troyer guest hosting the Raw, the little midget mini-me from Austin Powers. And this is also the week where we're going to see the trial against DX filed by Hornswoggle, and I guess we're going to see Warren Troyer as a judge in that court. That's not a far-fetched thought. Thank you for watching and have a nice day.